Welcome to BI for Cloud. Today we're going to look at Analyze Sales and Margins workbook, and we're going to look at the quick start guide. We can see sales and margins by customer item over any date ranges, applying filters and simple drill downs. First up, run the Analyze Sales and Margins base report. Now this is a view-only workbook, but it is really good to get started on this one. This workbook runs over sales invoices and includes multiple tabs which allow you to instantly understand sales trends, margins, runs across any date range. You can identify best sellers, investigate issues, etc. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at some of the various different tabs because they show different report styles that you can use. Getting started with the customer report, customer tab. This is a simple list style report and is great to use as a base for anything where you need to show a little bit more detail about averages, quantities, COGS, margins, etc. To get started with, things you can change and look at here is the order by. At the moment, it's ordering by dollar sales, but you might want your report to order by alphabetical name. Just click on a column, maybe margin. Let's identify which customers got the lowest margin and investigate that further. Back to total sales. You may not want to have a customer margin report. You might want to see margin by some other field. Simply click on the Analyze By, and that gives you all of the options of all the fields that are available in your system. So you might, for example, want to see your top selling items instead of customers. Simply click on the item field, and now you've got your top selling items. This is a golf club, by the way, so the top selling item obviously is golf membership. We've got other things all mixed in there, but it's a bit all over the shop. So let's put some subtotals in and let's group. I've got some item levels, so some structure, item groups, product types. So now I can see my membership separate from my equipment, etc. It makes a lot more sense. But even still, I've got a bit of a hodgepodge of things going on here. So I might want to add a filter and just look at one division. In this company, the divisions are called classes, and I'm just going to look at the golf shop because it's actually selling inventory. So it's going to be more meaningful to look at sales and margins in the golf shop. And we can see the items that they're selling, which one's making the most and the least, etc. I can remove this. Go back up to the beginning again, remove that filter, and go right back up to customers again. Another way of investigating things and looking at things is to drill down. And this tab is set up to drill down on items. So you can click on an individual person's name and drill down to see what items they've bought. And you can actually drill right down to see the invoice dates and the margins on each individual invoice. Again, we can either go back up the chain to customers or click that green back button. Now, this report at the moment is looking at one specific date range, and there's nothing here, so we can see that the date range is up in the top here, and that date range applies across all of the tabs. So you can simply change the date range to last month or the previous month, and it will apply to all of these tabs that are linked. Alternatively, I could add a date range filter just to an individual tab. So I might want to have a different date range that I can control just on this. So at the moment, it's showing this month. So if I click Apply, that filter now applies just to this tab. This is still looking at the full year, but this is just looking at this here. And you've got you could look at last quarter, this week, yesterday, any date range you like, you can apply. The next tab I want to look at is the monthly sales. Now remember, the customer tab was a list of customers. Monthly sales is a pivot style report. So it's still listing the customers down by default, but now we've got a different dimension across the columns. And in this case, I've got the months across the columns. So we can see not just the total amount that each customer's purchased, but when they bought them. Very good for recurring customers. Again, in a similar vein, you might not want to see monthly sales by customer. You might want to see them by item. Now we've got our items listed, and you can see how each of them are selling over time. But you don't have to have months as the columns. Again, you could choose all manner of things. So I'm going to put my class level, so my department, across the columns. So now we can see different items and what they're selling in different departments. Again, we can order by. Another way of ordering, by the way, is to use this little 3 lines here. And here we can add multiple orders. So I might want to order by the total sales, and you can add other fields as well. So we can order by there. You can also filter. So I might want to add a filter. So focus on one particular customer and see what they're buying, over what time frame. So I'm going to filter on the customer King, apply, and I can see what they've bought, but I might want to go back to the months. Sales by month. Now I can see how much of each individual product this customer is buying month on month. From here, I can then drill down on an individual month, 400, and I can see the individual invoices. So sales to Stephen King of golf lessons in the month of May. Again, I can just go back up the drill down. I'll just remove that filter. So again, we're looking at total sales for that date range. But remember, there were a lot of other date ranges. Another really good date range is called year to month end, and that will give you a rolling 13-month period. So constantly rolling, which is great when you're at the beginning of your financial year. So that's it for the monthly sales tab. As I said, it's a pivot. It can be anything. Doesn't have to be months. Can be anything. Could have sales reps across the top. If you've got the consolidated file, it could be companies across the top. Anything you can imagine. Next one we're going to look at is now that we've looked at some simple reports, we can pull it all together in some dashboards. So this is the headline sales. It's made up of 3 separate underlying report styles. These ones at the top are what we call KPI widgets. So in this case, we're showing year-to-date sales, gross profit, etc., and then month-to-date sales. And this is looking at, and it's also comparing to the previous year-to-date or the previous month. We can see graphics to show if things are up and down. So it's quite good to look at. The next one is just our simple monthly sales report, but because it's on a dashboard, I've just got a one-liner for the whole company. But again, we can quickly see trends, we can see changes in margins, etc. And then this one here is more of a comparison style of report. Again, an example. So this is showing our revenue accounts, sales last year, this year, the variance and variance percentage, and likewise with gross profit. So, and the variances are shown as a bit of a bar chart. So you can create dashboards and choose to bring in any style of report. You can create any kind of KPI widgets. You can compare things to budgets, for example, And you could have any other kind of report. So you could have top customers here, you could have sales reps, you could have sales by state. Whatever is meaningful to you is the way to do it. But this is just an example, the kinds of report that you can do. Again, date range completely controlled by this period up here. Just looking at some other little dashboards. This one's a 3 months dashboard. Again, an example of having a chart at the top with some more detail underneath. So this one is showing top customers, and this is just showing sales for the last 3 months. Again, June, July, August, visually and in numbers. And then looking at this one, this is an overall sales chart by income. Again, looking at the revenue accounts. This is actually looking at the revenue accounts, looking at monthly, and it's a stacked one. Again, you can change the date range. You could add a filter just by an individual item, by department, etc. And in this case, you can change the analyze by, could be by customer, or I'm going to put, that high level one, that class level. So applying that, now we get our golf shop, sales of membership, etc. So you can see how they all go. So have a look through these other ones as well. There's some year-on-year sales, again, by different ways of looking at things. So have a look through this, and then once you're comfortable with these basics, then go and have a look at the deep dive work guide, because that's going to tell you how you can then start to make these changes, save your changes, maybe create multiple tabs and things like that. Okay, thank you.